Welcome to the number 20th team in this deep dive series, unveiling the New Orleans Pelicans coming in at that 20th slot. And this is probably the highest ceiling team that we've had so far. This team does have the capacity to have a Phoenix Suns-esque turnaround, compete in the playoffs, maybe even make it to the Final Four. Gone are the failures of the Stan Van Gundy coaching area. Gone are the awful backcourt pairings of Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe. And while I don't think the answer was to lose a top 10 pick and get rid of a promising young talent in Lonzo Ball for Garrett Temple, they look better overall chemistry-wise. And I had a tough time picking who goes here. The teams are similar ranked, but one team missed the playoffs and got arguably worse. One team missed the playoffs and got marginally better. So Pelicans fans are going to be mad about the first half of this deep dive. I just have to give my spiel. They got worse overall. Last year, they were 31-41, came in 11th in the Western Conference, 22nd in the power rankings. Just a major disappointment when you have an all-NBA caliber player in Zion Williamson, when you have an all-star caliber player in Brandon Ingram, when you have a former number 2 overall pick in Lonzo Ball who's been getting better year after year after year, and when you have a quote-unquote proven head coach in Stan Van Gundy. Everything kind of seemed like it was set for the Pelicans to take off, and instead they just disappointed again. Zion got hurt again, sat out for half the season, and they failed to make the playoffs. And as I said, with these offseason moves, it feels like they got worse overall. If you just look at their numbers on like the NBA 2K rosters, their overall ranking looks like it's got a lower score, but I expect the fit to work better and the new head coach to improve upon the Stan Van Gundy era. So let's talk about those offseason moves. Kind of been a mixed bag of luck they've had out there in New Orleans. First, they waived Christian Wood in 2019, who turned into be a top 7 center that they would desperately use right now to stretch the floor. They trade away Drew Holiday, and while they got back a bevy of picks from Milwaukee, he goes out and immediately wins a championship with Giannis in year 1 while the Pelicans are saddled with Eric Bledsoe's contract. Then they sign JJ Redick, break his infamous make the playoffs every single year streak that he had going for like 10 years or something, trade him away after making him a promise they wouldn't trade him to Dallas, breaking that promise, and then JJ Redick, for all intents and purposes, a nice guy, well-respected around the league, goes and shits on the entire front office of New Orleans. So let's start with the Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe for Jonas Valanciunas trade. I'm frustrated a little bit at the Steven Adams disrespect that's been going on around the league since he left OKC. The dude is a hardworking, big-bodied, legit 7-foot center and paint defending big who can guard the Jokic and Embiids of the world. The dude is ridiculously strong. Last year, he very clearly lost a step and isn't quite the same guy he was in OKC. And as for Jonas Valanciunas, I like him. He's my 8th ranked center in the league right now. He has a jump shot. He's very solid from mid-range. But there's so many idiots that I'm seeing on the internet calling him a stretch 5, thinking, oh my God, now he's going to sit in the corner and spread the floor and Zion's just going to dive in and make every shot or kick it to sniper Valanciunas out there. Wahoo! The dude shot 0.39 threes a game and made 0.3 of those. Do you know what that means? He shot less than 1 3 a game and would make a three-pointer every 3 to 4 games in the season. Jonas isn't a ceiling-shattering upgrade at the center position, and I'd like him as a player. He's one of my favorite centers that are playing right now, but he's not going to change your franchise, turn you into the next coming of the Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Lake show. Next was dumping Eric Bledsoe's contract and moving down 7 slots in the draft and trading a future first from LA next season. Upon initial inspection, this looks like a bust for the Pelicans. They could have had James Bouknight. They could have had Moses Moody. Top 10 draft picks are valuable. But then the Grizz went out and took Zaire Williams with that pick, a project player who was a mid-20s at best kind of player, and the Pels took the best 3-and-D player in the draft in Trey Murphy, who is legit. So once again, the Pels got a little better, and it looks better in retrospect. With Eric Bledsoe's contract out of the way, I'm glad he isn't clogging up the floor anymore with Steven Adams, good lord. Most importantly, they freed up the cap space to sign a legit point guard, Kyle Lowry or CP3, or maybe their final fallback plan would be to just match whatever offer Lonzo Ball got. So they strike out on CP3, who re-signs with the Suns. Then they strike out on Kyle Lowry, who signs with the Heat. Then they let Lonzo Ball walk and assign a trade for Garrett Temple, Thomas Satoransky, and a second. Yikes. And I'm a little disappointed Lonzo didn't get any of the love and attention out here in New Orleans. I know he basically played his way out of New Orleans halfway through the season, but the dude legitimately got better and has overcome quite the shit show start of a career with LeVar Ball, with his little brother LaMelo Ball, dealing with LeBron James. He and the entire team getting traded away for Anthony Davis. He had the mental yipes, couldn't make a free throw to save his life, shot like 40%, couldn't make a three-pointer, completely changed his shot, and now he's much better of a player than he was when he stepped onto the court. That said, they brought in Devontae Graham, a backup caliber guard, for another first-round pick. Theirs in 2022. Okay, then. So you shot for CP3, lost 2 firsts and Lonzo Ball, but you got Devontae Graham. I don't know how else you call this, but just kind of a bust if you look at what they gave up versus what they got in return. You lost Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, a top 10 pick, 2 future firsts, Lonzo Ball, and you got marginally better at best. Eric Bledsoe finally off this team, ripped his career. He came up small in the playoffs. Injuries hampered his athletics, and he never developed a consistent shot. Good luck on the LA Clippers. All right, you got it. All that negativity for the New Orleans offseason is out of the way. They had a major offseason getting rid of 2 of their 5 starting players. And I mean, what a starting 5 they had originally. Eric Bledsoe can't shoot. Lonzo Ball, oof. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and then Steven Adams can't shoot. 3/5 of them can't shoot. All of them are mediocre ball handlers, and none of them played defense. So this upcoming season, they're going to be spreading the point guard duties quite a bit. They don't have a really true point guard, but they have several players like Point Zion. Brandon Ingram can bring up the ball. Devontae Graham's a point guard by his size, but he's more of a shooter. They're going to be a point guard by committee team. With that point guard ranking, they come in at 27th. And don't get me wrong, I like Devontae Graham. I see him as a high quality backup guard. He can go out and get you a 40 if he really needs to. He has Steph Curry range from 3. He just took a little bit of a step back last year since, LaMelo Ball. He had 18, 3, and 7, and then this year he followed up with about 15, 3, and 5. It's not the biggest drop-off, but you see there's levels to this game, and while Devontae is a quality player, LaMelo's just on another level. The majority of his shots are three-pointers. 8.7 of his 12.2 field goals last year came from the three-point line, and he's a 39% shooter from catch-and-shoot threes, and he's going to get a lot of those from Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram creating open shots, so he's going to stretch the floor nicely, something that they just didn't really have last year. Eric Bledsoe couldn't shoot. Lonzo Ball was just chaotically good or bad and nothing in between, and of course, Steven Adams didn't bring anything to the shooting as well. So Devontae Graham at the very least is going to be a nice floor spacing point guard for them. The backup point guard, Kira Lewis Jr., the rookie out of Alabama last year, showed some flashes of really high quality point guard play. He flies around the court. He is lightning quick, able to slash at will, and shot 33% from the three-point line last year, which is actually pretty good for a rookie. And honestly, it's a little spooky if you look at Devontae Graham's rookie numbers and Kira Lewis Jr.'s. I'm not saying they're the same player by any stretch, but they're very, very similar stat-wise. Just something to look out for, and they're both undersized point guards. He has a 6'7" wingspan to compensate for his short stature on defense because he is an undersized guard at 6'1", but I like him. I look forward to seeing his growth and development in this upcoming year, and he has the potential to be a possible starting point guard on a playoff caliber team. At point guard 3 is Thomas Satoransky. He's okay. Some defense, nothing incredible, but he's solid depth at the point guard position. Bringing us to the shooting guard position, where they're going to come in at 28th. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is interesting. He's very young, and I'm hearing rumblings of Pelicans fans saying, oh, he has an all-star caliber ceiling. And I think y'all are being just a little kooky there, a little too optimistic, but he is a good young piece. I mean, he put up 11, 3, 2, 34% shooting from the three-point line last year. While I like to see that three-pointer get up to closer to 37% league average, he did get a lot more efficient shot. 47% true shooting in his first year, 52% true shooting last season. And he's another young player that we like on this Pelicans team. He's long, he's a decent defender, decent shooter, has nice touch around the rim. He made some rookie mistakes. That's okay because he's growing and developing with the rest of this team. I think their oldest player is Garrett Temple that came over in the trade. Most of them are 22, 23 years old. He's not a great decision maker yet, and he's going to need to get a little stronger to avoid getting bullied on defense and finishing through contact, but the dude has a lot of potential. Bringing us to somebody who capitalized on their potential, Brandon Ingram. He is a very good, very solid scorer, has a lethal mid-range game. He's tall and can elevate over almost any defender. That's why they get the Kevin Durant comparisons. Now, he's not elite from the three-point line, but he shot 38%. Not too bad. He just hasn't been able to pair well alongside Zion Williamson. I'm not sure what the problem is, but I hope with the new coaching and the new system coming in, they're going to be able to match better. Maybe figure out how to run a Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram screen and roll or screen and pop. Bringing us to Zion Williamson. Zion is a monster. Duh. He was an all-NBA caliber player last year. If he either played more games and the Pelicans won a little more and made the playoffs, he definitely would have made one of the 3 all-NBA teams. I mean, his stat line, 27, 7, and 3. Unreal, 64% true shooting, 27.1 PER, 8.7 win shares. What a fucking freak stat line. He is unstoppable in the paint. The dude is built like a lineman and can maneuver in the air like a fucking trapeze artist. I don't know how he does it. He splits defenders so well. He has the quickest feet in the world, and his touch around the rim is perfect. Most players that are coming in and making shots like he does will miss so many of them, and he just happens to have the right spin, the right touch on the ball to make the ball go in the hoop. Now, I'm not sure if I'm in on point Zion yet. He has a decent handle. He's an above average passer. The biggest issue is he's just too short to play the 5 unless he can defend like Draymond Green does. So I think Willie Green coming in is going to have a difficult time on his hand. They're going to need a creative mind. Zion is a little bit Giannis-ish in his game. He doesn't shoot the 3 very well. He's too short to really defend centers. But I mean, the dude is just so talented. You should be building your entire team around Zion Williamson and what he's able to do. Now, at this point, I don't know what it was about the Stan Van Gundy defense, but he either didn't know or didn't care enough how to use his big frame to slow down defenders. His lateral quickness isn't lightning fast like his verticality and offensive movements are, which is part of his struggles on defense. And for whatever reason, he still can't walk around like a normal human being. I have no idea if that's going to affect him in the future, kind of like how Kemba Walker has inverted knees when he shoots the ball, which contributed to his major injury history. I'm still unsure about Zion. Can he stay healthy? It'd be nice if we could turn injuries off in real life, but we just can't, and injuries are part of the game. Are his knees going to be able to hold up that huge frame 82 games a year? Unknown. But all that aside, Zion is a freak. His greatness sped up the entire rebuild of the New Orleans Pelicans. Realistically, they were thinking, oh, we're going to be good 1, 2, or 3 years out roster-wise, hence their Drew Holiday trade. Yet Zion was such a monster last year in year 2 that now they're making win-now moves before they were even ready. No surprise, Zion is a beast, coming in at the 4th ranking for that power forward position, bringing us over to the center. Jonas Valanciunas. I've shed my spiel. I just didn't like the slander that Steven Adams was getting. Jonas Valanciunas is a very good center. He's an upgrade over Steven Adams. Yes, he shot 55% from mid-range last season, which is not too bad. I just don't like him when people say he's going to stretch the floor. He shot 36.8% last year. Okay, that looks good enough. He shot 0.8 or 0.9 threes a game. It'd be nice if the Pelicans were able to bump up that attempt rate to maybe 3 a game to keep defenders more honest and give a little more space to Zion Williamson. Again, that's going to be up to Coach Green. But this dude plays his ass off on defense, and even though he isn't a caliber player that Nikola Jokic or Rudy Gobert is, he's going to give you everything he has. And I think people love him because he's just so animated on the court. The dude wears his emotions on his sleeve. Every single call that is bullshit in the NBA, which there are tons of them, you see him say, what the fuck are you doing? My only issue is that I would have preferred them to find a good stretch 5 or a power forward masquerading as a center, whatever, that will open up the floor even more for Zion and Brandon Ingram. I would have loved to see them go after Kelly Olynyk, love to see them go after Bobby Portis or even Lauri Markkanen, just somebody who is a legit 3-point shooter putting up more than 0.1 threes a game. Bring us to Jackson Hayes, another young guy that I like. Now, there is some, we'll call it legal issues going on. Some police officers completely abused this man, and there's some Rodney King-esque suing that's going to be going on in the entire police department. Jackson Hayes got completely fucking wronged. I don't know if I want to recommend to watch the video, but this man has a legal case on his hand as he's going to be suing the shit out of the police force. As for Jackson Hayes, the basketball player, he's the perfect backup center right now. He's on his cheap rookie deal. He brings energy, scoring, rebounding. He was 6 for 14 from 3 last year, so that's why you see a 42.9% 3-point percentage, but maybe he can continue that trend and be their stretch 5 big man that they're looking for. He's got good size on him. He was very, very raw last year. He had major learning lessons in their games against better centers like Jokic and Christian Wood, but he's going to contest you at the rim. If you looked at his per 36 numbers, he had 1.4 blocks a game, which would have had him tied for 10th in the league last year. And he's able to hit his free throws, which is something that is clutch for centers that a lot of them are unable to do. He's got high energy. He's got great bounce. He's got great bounce back bounce where you're able to bounce, come down, and jump up again. He's got great foot speed, and he will throw block parties on the weak side help. Jackson Hayes is just a fun, high-energy player to watch when he's on the court, and I think he's going to be a very good backup, if not challenge Jonas for the starting role in this upcoming season. Finally, here is Willie Hernangomez, however you want to say his name. He's fine center depth. He can shoot a little bit. He's strong. He's just not really ideal for the center position. I really hope that with all these picks that they have, that they go after somebody who's going to be able to really, truly stretch the floor, maybe even if it's a small ball 5 kind of guy. But moving on to their bench position, where they came in at 22nd last year, and it's definitely going to be better this time around. They, of course, have Josh Hart, who was an incredible rebounder for his size. He put up 8 rebounds a game last year at 6'5" and had a 17 rebound game. I don't know how he does it. Maybe it's just the Russell Westbrook effect of wanting it more than everybody else on the team, but wow. He's also a great on-ball defender. He will guard your team's best guy. The only thing is his three-pointer needs to get better if he wants to stay on the court. At this point, he's a versatile 3-and-D wing, but last year he only shot 32% from the three-point line, clearly regressing from his rookie season when he shot almost 40%. Then his sophomore year, 33%, 34%, and of course last year at 32.6%. Not going to cut it. He did sign a new contract, and it is this wild, weird 3 consecutive 1-year contracts at $13 million a year. So while the price ain't too bad, it's a little weird that nobody went after this guy who's good depth on your bench at the very least, possible 6-man. But other teams' failures are a win for New Orleans, bringing us to Najee Marshall, another guy that I really liked, an undrafted find, an undrafted steal last year. He was great 3-and-D for them, give you a little bit of everything, defense, dribbling, shooting, ball handling, whatever you needed. Najee Marshall was going to do to the best of his abilities. Coming into their 17th overall pick, Trey Murphy III. And he is a very good pickup. He's going to lessen the sting and give it up a top 10 pick because of Eric Bledsoe. The dude was my favorite 3-and-D player of the entire draft. He's a perfect fit through this team. And the only other possible option I would have gone with this pick is a primary facilitating ball handler like Jalen Johnson or Sharif Cooper. But the Pelicans are all in on the Zion Williamson experience, and having the perfect 3-and-D player shot 40% last year is exactly what they need. One note before I talk about his blurb, please stop calling Trey Murphy a lottery pick. Y'all are idiotic if you don't understand what the definition of a lottery pick is. The lottery is what goes on in the NBA during the draft to determine who is the picks 14 through 1. The Pelicans picked Trey Murphy at 17, making him not a lottery pick. But my rookie bio on Trey Murphy was this: Trey Murphy is your classic 3-and-D guy. He's got incredible shooting percentage and doesn't have much else. He can't drive very well. With him, it's either a high-flying, flashy dunk, pass, or turnover. He only drives right. He has no mid-range, shot 1 floater in all the tape I watched, and usually spent his time in the corner spotted up. He has a funky full palm right hand outside of his head release, but his shooting percentage was so high that I wouldn't change a thing. He's a bit timid of a shooter at times, and when he gets rushed, his shot percentage goes down. He has a slow release, needing to catch the ball, dip, then elevate and shoot. That's going to need to be sped up at the next level. He's an okay defender, a bit too tall to defend smaller guards, but has decent foot speed and takes really good angles. He lacks muscle because Virginia sucks and doesn't work out anybody, but his length more than makes up for some mistakes that he makes. He's a little lazy of a rebounder and made a few bad rotations, but he can play the perimeter well enough. And he has a very nice vertical despite not having a quick first step, and was able to stay in front of his man. I love how his length is going to translate to the next level, and he's my favorite 3-and-D player of this draft class. Bringing us to Garrett Temple, the salary match of the Lonzo Ball sign and trade. I'm unsure if he's going to stay long. The Pelicans have indicated that they want him here for his veteran experience, I guess. He's a little older these days at 34. He was kind of a utility basketball player. They use that term in baseball where the guys can play any position, and Garrett Temple kind of is that guy. He plays point, he plays off ball, he plays small forward, he plays defense. He does whatever you need, jack of all trades, master of none. Going to bring some great experience to this team if he sticks around. And their second round pick, Herb Jones, made it to the team as well. I really was in on Herb Jones. I had a late first, second round grade on him. Herb Jones is a fun prospect. Like AK-47, he does it all for Alabama. Point guard, center, initiator, defender, loose balls, glue guy. If the question was Alabama basketball, the answer was Herb Jones. He's lacking in physical tools. He's not very fast, doesn't have great lateral quickness, and isn't very tall and isn't very strong, but he makes up for everything with hard work and effort. His shot form is ugly, but went in at a significantly higher percentage his senior year. Always a good sign. He knew when to punish smaller guards on the block, initiated the offense for his team, and made some dazzling passes. He makes strong drives and can finish with his length. He's a great mental defender. Despite not being quick, he makes up for it with his length and taking good angles. He's one of those guys that always seems to be in the right place for the loose ball, jumps high for a floating rebound, fights for every bounce, takes the charge or pulls the chair, makes a chase down block in transition, has pesky, active hands, and dives on the court almost as much as Davion Mitchell. He's just everywhere on defense, does a little bit of everything on offense, and will fit on any team that drafts him. As you can tell, I am very high on Herb Jones. Great pickup for the New Orleans Pelicans. And into the back half of their bench is Wenyen Gabriel. He's, fine, solid 3, possible 3-and-D wing player. He's only 24. He's just a little bit tall, doesn't have the fastest feet, and he's likely going to be guarding bigger forwards. Might have the potential to step out and be a stretch 5 if he puts on a little weight at 6'9". Marcos Didi Luzada, fun player for the team, only played 3 years so far for them, was a second-round pick back in 2019, and he's only 22 years old. Kind of a tall guard, small forward kind of guy. He's a defender who plays his absolute ass off on defense. He's going to guard your best player full court and fight through screens and contact while avoiding drawing fouls, and if nothing, at the very least, frustrate the guy with the ball. There's kind of an Andre Robertson role for him somewhere on this team. And they signed Jose Alvarado and Dalton Holmes to 2-way deals. Haven't seen much of their tape. Likely they're not going to see any on-court experience. And onto their coach and culture rankings, they're going to come in at 23rd. So, of course, an upgrade from last year. By all reports, Stan Van Gundy was a disaster. He lost the locker room. He alienated his star guys. He alienated the rest of the guys. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. Willie Green is a first-time head coach. So I know while Stan Van Gundy was so bad, I don't know if hiring a first-time head coach who's never done this before was an immediate solution. He's going to need to embrace modern concepts, especially with freakish talents like Zion Williamson that's nobody's ever seen before. He's going to need to play small ball, 5-out basketball, point Zion, point Brandon Ingram. He's going to have to get creative. Now, all reports are saying that he wants more defense, he wants more ball movement. Players and coaches reportedly like him, so everything is looking good. And I'm hoping that they can play better defense as a team. Defenses were supposed to be interconnected. Each player guards his guy and make sure he has the right rotations and help defenses for each of his teammates. And last year was just a bunch of guys ball watching and guarding their own man half-heartedly. There was so many defensive miscommunications. They didn't try hard. They got beat by so many backdoor cuts that they didn't see. There was nobody making call-outs. And they... Just for once, can they not bite on a ball fake? I think it was against the Clippers where they made 7 or 8 just completely failed contested shots because Paul George would do one ball fake and get 7 defenders to jump in the air with him. Now, I like the pickup of Mike D'Antoni as a consultant. While Willie Green is a rookie head coach, Mike D'Antoni has been around the block, and I think he's going to provide some valuable leadership to this team. As for the GM, it's Trajan Langdon, but it's really David Griffin, and I've yet to be seen if this mishmash roster from David Griffin works together. Initially, I was a fan. When he was on LeBron, he was able to, I guess, handle LeBron and put the right pieces around him to get a championship, go to the finals a couple years in a row. Of course, you have LeBron, so that's easy to do, but at the same time, you still have to make the right moves, like bringing in a Channing Frye, like bringing in an Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith back when he was good. In this post-LeBron career for David Griffin, it's been a bit hit and miss, and I'm looking forward to see if this roster actually plays out, if this weird concoction of players and point guard by committee and figuring out how to make Zion the primary focus for your offense is going to work. As for the owner, I'm not completely in on them. I think it was Max Kellerman on First Take said that the Pelicans and the Saints shared training facilities so that the ownership could save money. I don't know if that's true or not. I never actually looked it up because I don't care enough to, but it's just something to look out for, which is why they're coming in pretty far back at 23rd, bringing us to their projected win total this upcoming season at 39.5 games. And it's interesting. They blew a lot of leads last year. Being 2 games out of the play-in, I think 31-41, while everybody was sitting out. They lost Zion, they lost B.I., they lost Lonzo, they lost Steven Adams, they lost everybody to injury. And the only way to go should be up. Another year of Zion getting better. I think they should clear it away, be better than the 31 games last year. I think they should be a 500 ball club, if not better. So this is a cautious 39 wins that I think they're going to hit the over on. Like I said, their championship odds at 50-1, they could be a little Phoenix Suns-ish. While their season projections have them being the 10th seed going into the final spot of that play-in tournament, I don't know. They could be so much better. Just need to figure out, is everything going to mix and match? They have so many different pieces coming in. They have a new point guard. They're going to be starting a new shooting guard. They have a new center. They have a new head coach. Are they going to focus around Zion Williamson, the best player on their team, who's on the verge of being one of the best players in the NBA? Are they going to make sure that Zion Williamson stays in New Orleans? Are they going to make him happy while being a competitive team? And are they going to avoid the injury bug for one fucking year of their life? So that's what I have with this 20th ranked team. I know I was a little negative at the beginning of it. It was just because it's kind of frustrating when you give up a lot of talent and don't really receive a lot in return. They gave up 3 starters and 3 first-round draft picks, and it just didn't feel like they brought back the kind of talent that they should have with all of that draft capital. That being said, this is going to be the 20th ranked team with a very high ceiling. Hopefully they are able to capitalize, reach that, and we see the beast that Zion Williamson is in the upcoming year. Let me know what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and I'll catch you in the next one where we unveil the 19th ranked team.